Hello everyone, and welcome to this session of the Communities of Practice events. Thank you for joining us today. It's fantastic to have so many people. We've got quite a few that are signed up, so we'll just give people a minute to come in and make sure that you can access it. So today we've got a fantastic joint presentation between ourselves, HPCA and FEDIP, and we've got Will Smart with us today, who's going to tell you a little bit about FEDIP. Just some housekeeping for the session. If you want to put your cameras on, thank you, Maxine. Oh, she's gone again. Please do, because it's always lovely to have people to talk to and engage with. So please stick your cameras on if you can. I appreciate it's lunchtime, so if you're eating your lunch, you're excused. But also do put any thoughts and comments in the chat and introduce yourselves. These are always fantastic opportunities to get to know people. So put who you are, where you work and what you do in the chat, and give some love and thumbs up to people you know or people you'd like to connect with. It's always a great opportunity. So you can always include your LinkedIn account as well to connect with folks. So if you can make a start on that, those that are here already, that would be fantastic. You can ask questions in the chat as we go through the session. They may be answered as we go along, but if you want to ask questions of the presenters, do put them in the Q&A and vote up the ones that you would like to see asked. We're going to have quite a big group today, so if you've got questions, do make sure that yours gets asked. So without further ado, we will crack on. So thank you for joining everybody today. I'm Jo Stanford. I head up the Healthcare Project and Change Association. Just a very little bit about us if it's new to you. So we are a not-for-profit community interest company and we represent the project and change community in the health and care sector across the UK. We're UK-wide, we work really collaboratively and have networks in Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, across the regions in England. If you're not already registered with the network, please do join up. It's free for everybody to subscribe to HPCA. So if you're interested and like the events and things, everybody is welcome. We also work really collaboratively with the other professional associations. So with finance, the estates facilities, the people profession, about how we can work more collaboratively and support the development of the sector. And as I said, today's session is done jointly with FEDIP, and Will tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. But we also look at supporting the workforce development and the development of the profession as a whole and be a voice for the profession so that we can grow it and make it sustainable and make it a great profession to be a part of. In terms of events coming up, we have been running a series of change under pressure events. So anybody who is impacted by the big changes that are going on across the sector at the moment and feeling a little bit of a strain from that, there's some really great events, so you can have a look at the ones that we've done previously, and then the next one is coming up is around understanding more of the new neuroscience and how to develop a positive mindset so that you can understand what's happening to you, take charge of it and create a positive mental state for you going through the change. So do come and join David Bovis. He's a neuroscience expert and he's going to come and talk to us more about how we can keep positive while we go through all this change and support each other as well. We also have our next event with Ignition, which is around looking at capability to drive productivity and efficiency. And we know that's such a big agenda item at the moment for all organisations. So come along and find out a little bit more from them about some of the tools and techniques to be able to do that. So free for everybody to sign up, do come and join in. And if you register, you'll find out more about the events coming up shortly. We've got some regional network events coming up in Scotland, Wales, London and the South East, currently registered so far. We will add more from the other regions as we get the dates coming through from them. If you're interested in joining them, please do join each of your local ones and attend events in the others if you're interested. We do training and development, so if you're interested and you've got a bit of money to spend before the end of the financial year and want to build your project and change skills, do have a look at our website and see what we've got available. We do bespoke courses as well, so do join that. I mentioned the Change Under Pressure events. We've got some resources that can support you, so do have a look at the page on the website and the link will be put in the chat for you to have a look at in more detail. And also recommend it to colleagues that might be affected by the changes that are going on as well. There might be something very valuable for them. We have a new series of programs coming up as part of our membership, organisational membership offer, and the first dates of those are available. So if your organisation is a member, you get to attend these for free. So it's building on capability and building some really good skills going forward. And we've got some bespoke courses that you can put on within your organisations. We're really big on change management because we think that's a real gap, and there's lots of things we need to do to build skills around how we take people on the journey for change. I'm doing some work with NHS England around digital adoption at the moment and how we can improve that using change management skills and capabilities. Do get in touch if you're interested in any of those. We've also got storytelling masterclasses. To be able to convince people and get people engaged with good storytelling is also really valuable skill. And again, we have organisational membership with the added masterclasses and short courses as part of that now. So if you're thinking about how you're going to develop your organisation capability in the new financial year or want to support the development, do get in touch. We'd be happy to have a chat. So that's a whistle-stop tour of us and what we do and what we've got available. So I'll stop sharing now and just hand over to Will to introduce the Federation for Informatics Professionals and, you know, the role and function of that. Thank you for joining us today, Will.
And thank you, Jo, for inviting me. I'm really excited to be here. Two really important areas represented. First, around change and transformation, which is something through my career in the NHS, I know that we struggle with. How do you engage a huge, diverse workforce and point in the same direction and implement really tough change? And secondly, around AI, which is the thing that everyone is talking about at the minute, and I'm not sure we all know exactly sometimes what we're talking about. So great to be here, and thank you very much. I'm here representing the Federation for Informatics Professionals in Health and Social Care because the NHS likes snappy titles, don't we? But basically what FEDIP is an overarching professional register for all of those folk who work in digital disciplines across health and social care. One thing that is certainly true in the NHS is that there are many digital roles covering many disciplines, whether that's clinical, whether that's technical, but again, change management, clinical coding, etc. So a singular place that can hold a single register for all of those professions linked to their specific professional bodies. So as FEDIP, we are effectively a group of professional bodies that have come together to offer that single registration into the NHS. I chair the British Computer Society's Faculty for Health and Care, but SILT, BIRIM, SOCATIM, UK CHIP, Chime are also participating members. Why do I think professionalism is important? Just to end, I think as someone who has spent most of my career in and around technology in the NHS, I think we are a discipline that is recognised as important, but perhaps not recognised as being a profession and a group of people with a perspective, set of ethics, skills and insight that are actually really valuable to the organisation. So FEDIP and our constituent bodies are there to raise the profile of the profession, raise the criticality of ensuring that those that are leading digital and delivering digital services in organisations are capable and accredited to do that. And we believe that professionalism in this space will become more critical over the next few years, given the enormous changes that we are about to face, given the 10-year plan, etc., etc. So wonderful to be here. I'm really looking forward to spending an hour with you all, and I guess I'll pass back to Jo.
Yes, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Will. So I'd like to introduce today's speakers. So from Projecting Success, and it's a fantastic organisation that delivers the Project Data Analyst Apprenticeship that we have as part of our offering. They're coming today to talk to you about how AI can support project data transformation and how to partner with AI to thrive in your career. So I'd like to introduce Bethany and Scott and just say how important it is to bring the two professions together, project and change and the digital and data professions, and say, this is really where we intersect. So what can we do to work more collaboratively and deliver more effectively? And some fantastic insights from Bethany Scott today. So Bethany, if I can hand over to you, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'll just bring up my slides, everyone, so hopefully you'll be able to see those in just a second. Obviously, yeah, welcome to the session today where Scott's going to take you through some sort of like practical examples of, of the theme for the session today. And, I'll talk you through what the actual upskill options look like. So what does that actually mean and how do you apply that to the webinar itself? So just to kind of kick off the session then, we're going to pop in the chat like a Menti question, which hopefully you can all access. But it'll be around sort of what motivated you to join today's session, just so we can kind of understand what it is you're looking to learn about. So whether that was learning about apprenticeships themselves, maybe it is just the data and AI skills that you're kind of wanting to learn and develop, whether it is career development and something that you're looking at actively, or maybe there was just a general interest. So maybe you saw the title and thought, yeah, that interests me. Which hopefully then will be on its way into the chat for you guys to access, and then we'll take a little look at that one as well. I haven't seen anything popping, but we can always pop back and check on that one. Oh, there we go. Good. I was gonna say thought my screen had froze. Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, good to see a few people thinking about career development or just a general kind of what is the session and what's it all about. Obviously the majority then taking it around data and AI skills. So obviously seeing that it's around AI. So really, really great to see that that's kind of piqued everybody's interest, and that's kind of what everybody's looking at. Oh, leveling out a little bit, but I think data and AI is still gonna take it, I think. Perfect. Yeah, thanks everybody for popping in your answers. I think that's slowed off a little bit. So I will take it that data and AI is what has piqued everybody's interest, which is really, really great, because that's obviously that's what we do. So well, I'll talk to you a little bit more about kind of who we are. If you haven't heard of us at Projecting Success, I suppose that's the important bit about where to begin. So my name is Beth and I'm the partnerships manager then at Projecting Success. So who are we, I suppose, is probably is the best place to begin. If you haven't heard of Projecting Success, then we are a training provider. So we specialise in developing capability in data and AI, and we do that through apprenticeships. Mainly, but we do have other streams as well that we do that through. So we collaborate then with industry to transform project delivery, and our mission is to move the dial in project delivery as a whole. We kind of are split then into sort of three pillars with different service offerings, but in our capability pillar then we offer apprenticeships, bespoke masterclasses, and also other training opportunities in order to harness and move that dial essentially. We didn't really start life as a training provider, but our capability pillar was actually born from a need to upskill. So we were created essentially to change the world of project delivery using data and AI by working together as a community. So in the early days, basically, we co-founded the Data Trust, which led to the government publishing its white paper on using data and AI in major projects. And we then co-founded the Coalition, which is essentially a group of large companies, including the likes of the Ministry of Defence, where everybody works together to implement those changes. That naturally led to us then becoming a training provider. So our partners recognised that need to upskill their project delivery staff, and obviously they asked us then to kind of step in and help, and that began our capability journey. So it's important to probably note that just because we didn't start out as a training provider doesn't mean we don't take it seriously. Of course we do. We are also subject to Ofsted, like every other training provider, and we're last given a good rating, and we're working towards being an outstanding provider. So that's something that we take really passionately. That links really nicely then to our community pillar. So we also have a really wonderful community, and we do project events like Project Hack, which I will cover in more detail shortly, and Scott will talk to you a little bit about as well. And we have other events as well, such as Project Meetup and Project Data Analytics Community, and we do have a lot of those over on LinkedIn as well. So feel free to link in with us over there. The community aspect then is the sort of foundation of projecting success. So within that community focus, we see the data challenge in project delivery as a million-piece jigsaw puzzle. We understand it. It's complex. It's time-consuming. It's really impossible for one person to solve that quickly or efficiently, as you can imagine. So we work together then with organisations by breaking that down into smaller, focused projects. So that could be, I don't know, 10 teams each handling 100,000 pieces. And then actually together, we're going to make that achievable. So each team focuses on their part, developing those new data skills, and that contributes then to the bigger picture. So those smaller pieces then obviously are combined, and then you get the complete solution. So as you can imagine, this is much faster, it's smarter, and it's got a lot more collaboration and insight then built in by breaking it down bit by bit. And that same theory then applies to upskilling. So one person developing data capability is really valuable, but actually when you multiply that across teams, across an organization, that impact scales dramatically. So that leads, saving project hours, improving decision making, and as you can imagine, far greater outcomes overall when that's upskilled and upscaled. Finally, as part of our consultancy pillar, we have really exciting tools like our large language model or our chatbot called Marvin. This kind of started from our founder, Martin, his idea to make project delivery more manageable. So kind of like those jigsaw lid projects. Marvin works together by, he basically pulls together a really vast collection of data and resources around project data analytics. And he can answer specific questions about project data analytics using trusted sources, uses things like the Praxis framework and other project management texts as his library. So the great thing is that as an apprentice, you can access and use Marvin to support your learning, but you could also use it to support their day-to-day project work. And we see that across the board. So thinking about apprenticeships then, and where this kind of links in, there is a bit of a key terms or reference guide that we'll pop into the chat just so that you can, if there's any unfamiliar words, that hopefully we can answer what those actually mean. But I think when you start with the basics, I think when people hear the word apprenticeship, they think about, school leavers, maybe taking a practical trade. It might be building or plumbing, but actually that's not an accurate representation of what they are in today's world. An apprenticeship then is a paid job, and it combines that practical work experience with formal study. So still maybe in that same way, but you stay in your current role and you'll work towards a nationally recognised qualification, and you'll still continue to gain real experience in your role. And I think it's important to mention that nationally recognised qualification is, in this case, the one that we're talking about, is the equivalent of a foundation degree, of an undergraduate degree. So it isn't, it's not just do a couple of bits of e-learning and that's all you achieve. There's a lot more to it. But obviously where they're work-based, that means then your learning directly links to your day-to-day responsibilities. So it's really relevant. You're going to apply those new skills in real situations. So obviously, therefore, your learning is much more impactful and has a lot more relevance to your day-to-day job. It's also really great to see that they're fully funded through the apprenticeship levy. So there's actually no cost to you at all to complete the apprenticeship. I know there's obviously lots of free resources that you've got out there for other bits and pieces, but apprenticeships are an amazing opportunity to upskill without having to pay anything towards that. They're also open for anybody. So apprenticeships are open to anyone over the age of 16. And at any stage of their career, there's no age cap or age limit as to when you can complete an apprenticeship. And whether that means you're just starting out in your role, or maybe you've been in position for a long time and you're looking to upskill, there is an option then to suit everyone. And then finally, the employer support that's available. There's lots of links out there for you guys, but they provide those, the on-the-job support, the mentoring, and the opportunities to apply what you're learning. And it's a chance to really build that sort of strong, capable team, and making sure that you're applying that learning directly to your role, so you can see the benefits from as little as month 1 into your program because of that support then that is available to you. So you might be thinking, well, what does that look like? What does that mean for me? So actually, if you were to come on program with us, what the learning experience will look like is that you will learn in a niche cohort. So we'll bring together like-minded professionals and who are passionate about shaping the future of project delivery professions. So it's not just about learning with anyone from anywhere. Our specialist is project delivery and data-driven project delivery. So that is where everybody will be from. And obviously, therefore, you're going to create your own sort of mini community where you can share experiences and you'll learn from one another. And you'll probably find that there's a lot of things that overlap from organisations, and lots that you can learn there. The training then is delivered through Microsoft Teams, so everything is online. And you'll complete then a mix of independent learning and live online teaching days with your tutor and alongside your cohort. So there's plenty of chances and opportunities to have that collaboration there. The online teaching days are mapped out in advance, and it's probably important to say that you can schedule your attendance accordingly. Of course, we would like you to attend every single session live, but understand, you take holidays or you're off sick or life happens. Those sessions are all recorded and you'll be able to access them at any time and go back and catch up. Of course, we'd always recommend attending on the day so you can kind of follow along, ask questions in real time. But obviously, you can go back and recap or reflect on the module once they're complete, and you'll have access to those recordings throughout your journey. Every 8 weeks, then you'll have a progress review with your tutor and your line manager, and you'll discuss how you're getting on and identify any support that you might need as part of the course. And then you also have the opportunity to book one-to-one sessions with a tutor. So if you do need any extra clarification on modules or support, or maybe you missed something on your journey, then you're able to book that in and get that one-to-one support as well. So throughout your journey, as I've mentioned, your line manager and employer will offer that guidance and support and mentoring. So we'll all work together to be able to get you that support you need to complete. But actually, it'll be about how you're going to apply that. So are you going to be doing some mentoring, shadowing opportunities? That there might be many things that you do to kind of get that in your role. And then you're going to dedicate 1 day a week to off-the-job training, or I should say roughly 1 day a week, kind of how it works out for the apprenticeship funding. So Scott's going to take you through some of the things about how to actually partner with AI then in healthcare projects. But first of all, we've got a couple more Menti questions just to kind of see what everybody's doing. The first will be around roughly how many hours a week that you do you use data or Excel in your role? And there's a bit of a multiple choice there option for you. So it's good to kind of see, what level of data or Excel people are using. And the next will be around what tools you're using most often right now. So we'll see a couple of these answers come in, and then Scott will be able to kind of use that and talk to you through his slides. Quite a big split. It's a lot more varied than I thought. Really interesting there. As I say, just see 2 to 5 keeps going up quite a lot, and then the 10 or more is actually quite also another popular choice. But can see that obviously everybody's using data or Excel in their role in some form. Brilliant. And then the next question then is around what tools you use most often right now. So are you using Excel? Obviously, we've just had that on the sort of last question, but are you looking at things like Power BI or any project tools? So things like, Microsoft Project, Smartsheet, anything that kind of comes along those lines, or maybe you don't use any of those. If you're not using any of those, feel free to let us know in the chat, what are you using? Is there anything in particular that you are using day to day in your role? Got a bit of a clear winner, I think, already on Excel. Yeah, brilliant. Can see straight away. That's huge numbers of people using Excel. Great to see a few people using Power BI on those project tools as well. Pleased to almost see that nobody's using none regularly, so I'm glad everybody's using something. Brilliant. Thanks everybody for your participation there and letting us know what you do use. Scott, you'll be able to take that away and obviously let people know how that links with what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some really interesting results there. Just grab the screen share if you don't mind, Beth, if that's okay.
Yeah, you go for it.
Thank you. So I'm Scott Owens. I am the senior tutor at Projecting Success. I've got a wide range of industry experience in data analysis and quite a bit of experience in teaching. So I've worked in fields as varied as road painting to stocks and shares data analysis, stocks and share performance. I've also worked in the NHS as well in Leeds teaching hospitals. A long time ago though. And what I want to speak to you today is about a little bit about AI and how it incorporates with project management and data analysis. But it's more not AI hype, but sorry, I'm sharing my notes, aren't I? It's about how AI can support you in project management, how it can support your careers, and how it can make data skills achievable, and how we can support that through the apprenticeship. So with project management, certainly, and I think in all industries, we know about the data, we know about the tables, we do have that data visible. We're working with Excel, and good to see so many of you working with Excel, but there's a lot more insight out there. It's just hidden away. It's hidden in those large documents. It's in narrative data, so it's hidden in text. We'd see there's data in business cases and documentation, risk and issues text, lessons learned. There's lots of areas in project management where data is there, but it's not immediately available to us. We certainly see it a lot across all industries in feedback and engagement, and any kind of place where we collecting text or comments. And what we want to do is we want to use this information to support professional judgment. So we don't want AI to make the judgment. We want AI to help us with the analysis that will support the judgment, which will allow better decision making. Now, narrative data like this is quite difficult to analyze, but AI supports it really well. It supports the scale and consistency. We're looking at large documents and picking out bits of information that we can turn into data. So it allows us to read and summarize large document sets. It can look at those documents and pull out information, put it into tables, give us information we can then read, analyze, information we can understand. It's good at looking at that information and spotting those patterns. It's spotting those recurring themes. And it's certainly good at identifying risks across portfolios, things that are common, identifying systemic issues across portfolios, across projects. And in data analysis, analyzing text, we want to pick sentiment from the text. We want to be able to understand what the issues within the text are, what the text is trying to say to us. And AI can take that text and turn it into information we can use. And like I said earlier, it's this information, it's around, we have our tables, we have our data that we analyze, we have the Excel that you're using already, but there's more information available. And I think there's an underutilization or underemployment of what is a huge asset available to us, certainly within the field of project management. And we don't want AI to start making decisions. We want AI to support the decisions. We want to move away from I think to I know. And that information is available if we can better utilize it in our data analysis. So we don't want AI to replace the professional judgments, but augment it. Now, I'm going to speak about how our apprenticeships support this and how you can learn the skills to enable this. But I think the best way to share this information with you is to share what our learners have been able to achieve. Now, I'm not able to share videos, unfortunately, so I will ask if somebody could just play a video of what our learners have been able to achieve with sound.
Easy solutions. Our team members are Stephen, Liam, John, Deborah, Mark, and me. So what was our challenge? We're looking at how we can improve project assurance within the Ministry of Defence. Assurance helps ensure that projects meet their performance, cost, and time objectives. But until now, a lot of time is spent manually searching for assurance evidence across project documents. This challenge is about using large language models to automate that process, to identify relevant evidence and highlight any gaps. The aim is to reduce the manual workload and enable assurance managers to focus their efforts where they can have the greatest impact.
So the tool is integrated with a custom ChatGPT to make reviewing the documents much faster and more efficient and improving accuracy. So at the beginning of the tool, you select which stage you are in the process. So at the stage for this example, we are the strategic outline case. So you simply click on the button there. You then enter in the case ID number. You then select which document you need to review. You then select the document there. You then click on the Analyze Document button. This will then generate the answers to the questions which are predetermined based on your first selection. So when we selected the SOC and clicked on the project documentation, the system's clever enough to know which criteria to review it against. And this also gives you whether it's compliant and non-compliant, partially compliant. It gives the references where the evidences are. Also, if you clicked on the buttons, it gives you the actual references where you get the data from. And once you've reviewed it and you're happy with the responses, you simply click on the upload the data onto the project log. This will then transfer the information from this tool into a database, which then feeds in a Power BI, which then you can do your analysis.
The approval process is now a simple solution of seeing the results of the LLM comparison within the Power App of a single project proposal document, making the whole process quick and readable. The info from the Power App will be shown in a Power BI report, which can be evident to show the document originator what areas are missing. In the future, the system can be developed further to incorporate an automatic system that uploads new project documents that have entered the MOD architecture and checks without user input.
Our Power App allows the user to select the business case type being assessed and which piece of evidence is being scrutinised, and then upload the file into our ChatGPT agent. The agent then selects the criteria based on the business case type being assessed and which piece of evidence being scrutinised. It then uploads the file to be checked and outputs a result that shows that the evidence complies, partially complies, or does not comply with the criteria. It then provides a summary of the evidence showing where in the document the evidence sits and outputs to our Power BI data source.
Taking the output Excel file from the large language model, we have gone through the processes of cleaning and transforming the data. This will allow the Power BI report to be reusable with new data and perform quicker. We've created an overview page to show overall compliance with total number of projects and number of documents within the project and their compliance state. We've used filters to be able to isolate which project and document you want to concentrate on. And a more detailed page where you can review the page references for the criteria. Having proved the concept, further improvements would be to rank rate the detailed view and to create individual user interfaces for each persona.
To answer the questions the judges gave us, for question 1, each compliance result is directly linked to supporting evidence mapped to PEAP criteria. Full or partial compliance is clearly marked, whilst missing evidence is flagged as non-compliant. This enables both project leads and assurance managers to easily verify results, whether they need a summary or full traceability. For question 2, test cases use custom ChatGPT-based agents with redacted inputs. In live MOD use, only below official sensitive data would be ingested via mods chat. Whilst document completeness isn't yet checked, future updates will add version control. All prompts are auditable and maintain context for explainability. For question 3, batch tests processed all PMPs in one run, handling varied structures with no issue. The system supports batch uploads and auto-tagging, enabling scalability compliance checks.
Okay, excellent. And an immense sense of personal pride there, because every person on that team was an apprentice who had worked with us and had developed the skills to create those tools while on our course. And what they were able to achieve is they were able to use AI to rapidly process documentation. You saw it started outputting whether a document was compliant or whether more work was needed. They had structured outputs. They turned large-scale text information into data that they could then use. So they'd taken the unstructured text and turned it into structured tables. And a lot of you have used Excel, so you might have been surprised to see Excel in the process. but it certainly was something that they'd used as part of their tool set. But they'd also create a dashboard that assisted. They didn't replace the decision making. They supported the decision making. They provided key stakeholders with the information they needed from the document quickly and in an effective and impactful way. So what they essentially built was something that gave better evidence with less manual effort. Now, I do have another example of a hack, so of one of these outputs from one of our learners. But I'm happy for you to explore these on your own. Now, the hack challenges, which Beth's going to speak more about, and the hacks are an amazing opportunity where organizations that work on large projects bring challenges to our learners and say, how can you solve this? And the thing about the outputs is they are open source, and all the videos are on YouTube. So if you search for Project Hack, which we'll speak about later, not only can you see what you can achieve on our course and with learning and developing your AI skills and data analysis skills, but you can actually see the outputs and the ideas that have been produced in these challenges and in these hacks, and you can download them as well. You can take the information and use them in your own role. So we have another team that again worked with AI, and this team built a standalone AI model, whereas the other one used ChatGPT. These people created an independent LLM using Llama, and they used it to parse document for risk indicators. They would look for patterns that would take manual hours to manually extract, and I think they got 7 days work down to 40 minutes in reviewing documents, and they were able to share that and evidence it back to the MOD. So they looked at being able to identify earlier issues that were starting to occur, starting to cause a problem on a project or might cause a delay, known risks that were starting to evidence, and they were able to demonstrate it through structured analysis, through dashboards, and enable decisions to be made that where those risks could be avoided or mitigated appropriately. So that's what AI does, and that's what learning AI through how we develop our learners to use AI to empower themselves with AI. We're not looking at changing how work's done. We're looking at improving it. We're looking at increasing efficiency, improving the information that surrounds us. We're letting it take the mundane out of the role and allowing us to apply our skills where they could be better utilized. Removing the manual review. More time not finding, but interpreting. More time advising. More time allowing the information to have the appropriate impact. Making sure that the information is available to us sooner and clearer. So we might be using AI now to help us write emails. We might be using it to help us with presentations, as I've done today. But if we can incorporate more of its functionality, certainly in data analysis, then we can become more strategic and more influential. And how it works, how can it work with data? Well, we saw how it cleans and structures messy data, how it can find those patterns, how it can find context behind the patterns as well, how it not only can identify what's happening, what's going to happen, but what is causing that. We can use it to make sure that our decisions and our findings are backed up with facts. And it can support us in communicating the insights quite clearly. So incorporating AI allows us to empowers the individual to utilize data skills better. Now, how does that tie in with our apprenticeship? And how did those learners that we saw earlier gain those skills to be able to produce tools that fully utilize AI? Well, there's various areas and various things that we teach that that align with being able to use a modern tool set, including AI tools that are available. So yes, we teach Power BI. We will show you how to create those dashboards. In fact, Power BI and data modeling are related to the two core areas of data analysis. And now data analysis I describe as a bookcase with two bookends that are key and critical, and that is your data model and your impact. So you get the information into a way that it is usable, and you use it so that decisions are made. AI is just a book on the bookcase, but it's a book that we really need to utilize because it provides more information. So Power BI is how we create the dashboards, how we communicate the data, how we demonstrate our findings, how we get them across to stakeholders so that they have the appropriate impact. And we will show you how to do that. We will not just teach you the tools of Power BI, but we'll teach you the empowerment of effective dashboards. We'll teach you how dashboards can have the impact required, how they can work with stakeholders, how they can communicate findings. We will show you how to structure the model. We will show you how to shape the model, bring data from different sources together, how those unstructured documents communicate with tables that you already have, that you're already working with, how you can grow and develop your data model. We'll teach you some technical skills as well. SQL is a great way of learning how you can validate, how you can communicate with data. We will touch on that. We will certainly teach you Python. Python's important for confidence in AI. How does AI work? How do those decision trees work that power AI? How do the neural networks work? Well, we will teach you about machine learning, and we will teach you about predictive analysis, but we'll also look how you can extract data, how you can look at patterns, and how you can look at sentiment analysis. And two tools that we did see in that example was Power Automate and Power Apps. Now, Power Apps, they were using to collect data, to show data, to interact with the data. It's a way of creating a form, a tool, the data collection, a little bit of software that you can use. But Power Automate is when you're working with data and when you're incorporating AI, your day-to-day interaction as well, you can limit that by automating repetitive processes. So we'll show you how to automate things like cleaning data, moving data through AI into your data model, or anything that you can gain efficiencies from by automating the process. And just to go back to that key point, we're not giving you skills that are going to make decisions. We're giving you skills that are going to extract evidence. So I think there's a real benefit for recognizing that we are in a world with AI, but it's not something to fear. It is a powerful tool that doesn't eliminate people's roles, but drives value, takes away the mundane, or does things for you that your skills will be better elsewhere. It supports understanding the insight, not digging the insight out. It allows you to challenge outputs responsibly. Go back to that hacks example that we saw earlier, and how that it referenced everything. It found references to quantify its output. When you surround yourself with more data, when you incorporate more data, you bring more data into your analysis, the decisions that you make are based on evidence. They can be more confident. They can be more defensible. So that's what we're looking to do. Market leaders, being at the cutting edge of how technology can support project management. At Projecting Success, we're not about how we can not just train people, but moving the dial on project management, improving how project management moves forward with the emerging technologies. And if I can just bring it all back to HPCA and its alignment with their mission statement, I got this from their webpage, and if we have from their homepage, and if we look at the things that we talked about today, how AI improves efficiency, takes away picking information out of documents, and increases the amount of data that surrounds us that we can work with, that we can make decisions with. then it will have an impact on capacity. It will allow you to utilize more of the skills that you have, and therefore it will support your capability. It is a system to change and innovate. It is the modern the future direction of data analysis. It is taking all those things that have improved how we utilize data and moved them into a really high-tech decision model. So AI is about how data is moved, how it understands the data it ingests, and how it moves it through a model and how it outputs. And it uses the power of computing that we have now to be able to do that in a new and innovative way. And certainly it will support that in the mission statement. And of course, if we have impactful decision making, if we have information that we are confident about, then it will be of benefit to your stakeholders. So that is my presentation, short presentation on the empowerment of AI. And I hope you found that useful. If you've got any questions, please do ask. And do certainly look for those hack challenges that are available on YouTube and see if there's anything that might be useful to you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Scott. I think there's some really useful insights there around some of the tools, some of the techniques can be used. And I just want to share an experience, and please do put your questions in because these are really helpful. Do stick your hand up or stick it in the Q&A. Because I've actually, the apprenticeship is part of the offering that we provide through HPCA in terms of access to the apprenticeship. I think it's one of those skills that's really important now. There are other providers, but we're not necessarily making sure that we've got the skills for all. But actually, having been to the Hack Challenge, you don't have to be on the apprenticeship to do that. If you're interested or you are a data analyst and you really want to make use of your skills and share with others, because it's a collegiate approach to it, you can join the Hack Challenge, share your skills, develop something that's going to add real value. I put a link in the chat to the Hack Challenge that I put forward and we had 5 teams working on the Workforce Data Analytics Challenge, and they came up with some most amazing things. But as part of the apprenticeship, we had people that were part of the Nursing 50,000 programme, if people are aware of that. So when I was head of corporate portfolio office for Health Education England, we had people going on that apprenticeship in order to be the ones as part of the project team that did the really important data analysis and brought those skills into that project team. And this is where I think that the combination of the digital skills, the data skills and the project skills all really start to come together. So much of what we do is about making a difference and about understanding how that difference is creating the data to improve how things are working. So anybody have any questions for Scott on the examples he might have shared, or also share something that you might have going on as well, because I imagine there's some experimentation going on in the community as well. Anybody have any questions if you want to stick your hand up? I think we're at an early stage of development, and I'll just bring in Scott to maybe give some more examples about how this could really work in healthcare.
Well, improved decision making in project management is certainly, I think, across all industries, AI and data, even just data analysis, is underutilized. So just incorporating data, think about those huge amounts of text documents that are there, that are not being used, that are being underutilized. It's just the power of incorporating more data would be wonderful. But Beth's got some more slides where she can go into that detail, if that's okay.
Is it about the use of the AI, or I'm just thinking, make sure we got a chance for people to, or is it about the training program?
It was just a little bit more detail, but we can send that out afterwards. So if people do have some AI specific questions or anything, any apprenticeship questions, then we can take those whilst we've just got the last sort of 10 minutes left.
Absolutely. if you do have
And
any questions
Will,
about AI, we'll certainly take them.
I'm going to put Will on the spot as well. Are you there, Will? Because I think there's something about the FEDIP role around this as well, and the data profession within FEDIP, and what can be available to support people, and how they can follow this up from your perspective if they want to find out more.
So obviously, AI is one of those areas, as I said earlier, that everyone is talking about, but it's very difficult to know how to approach it, and particularly given sensitivity of the kinds of data that we work with within healthcare. So it's always a challenging issue in terms of what we can offer within FEDIP. So if you go to the FEDIP website, there are courses that are signalled there. Certainly, if you went, for example, to the British Computer Society website, there is a whole group within BCS that's looking both at AI but also at the ethical issues. And my experience as somebody who dabbles with AI is it is an area that it's extremely powerful, but sometimes and a really useful aid, but something that you need to spend time confirming the answers and being very careful, because you can ask the same question 2 or 3 times and get different answers. So it's an area that requires thought, care, and certainly FEDIP and our bodies, APFA, BCS, and others have got specific areas that could provide some support and some insight and training around AI.
Absolutely, and building communities that share knowledge and information as well are really key. Let me bring Lynn in, because you've got your hand up, Lynn. Do you have a question or comment on this? Sorry, my screen is about to switch off.
It's in regards to digital skills, and within the NHS, the argument really that's going on about what professions should have what qualifications in terms of digital skills and being recognised as a professional. So I understand certainly in Scotland the DDAT review is going on, looking at what jobs should have professional digital qualifications within that. At the moment in Scotland, I believe they had project and program manager on there, and then they changed it to change manager. So the only listed job description there at the moment is change manager. So yeah, in terms of being recognised as a professional, it's not great at the moment in terms of project and program management. Whether DDAT will change things as it moves along, we don't really know. But in the meantime, the Scottish Digital Academy, linked to the Scottish Government, is offering various free training. And in terms of project managers and things like Agile and Scrum training, in terms of digital tool sets as well, it's very time consuming. You'd have to, get permission from your line manager to attend a lot of these courses and then sign up to the individual courses for all the different tools.
Yeah. I think there's a good point there, which is that there is a lot of training out there. There's a lot of valuable skills development out there, but without the career framework and the professional development that either gives you the authority or the budget or the leadership to enable that to happen, it's very hit and miss. And it might be you've got a great manager who's really progressive, who's going to put you forward for stuff, or you might have one that isn't. And that doesn't then create a level playing field for creating the kind of workforce capacity that we need and support people with an equal access to career development. So I do think that professional career framework bit that underpins it has to be an important direction going forward to support this. I'm just going to bring in those couple of questions in the chat. So I'll bring those in and then come back if we've still got time, Lynn, if that's another question on there. So
it was really just a comment to say that our board is creating a new PMO, and within that they are planning to have data analysis support. So some of what you showed on screen there, I'm presuming the data analysts within the PMO maybe would assist us in setting up things like use of AI to check project management documentation, and not necessarily the program managers having to create that. So it's kind of different skill sets for different horses, if you like.
It might be, but there's also a point where actually we've got project and program managers that need to develop a sufficient level of these skills to be able to do some of this themselves. This is where the professions are really crossing over. Will, did you want to comment on that one before I go to the questions in the chat?
So there's a lot of work happening. So FEDIP, for example, has created a job architecture within the digital skills that covers all of the various components. We're working with NHS England and NHS Wales in terms of how that might be applied within those systems, because I think part of the challenge is, depending on the role that you have and what the next step up, you don't need all of the skills to do every role. So it's about understanding that pathway and understanding what you need at different levels and progression. And I think there's a lot of active conversation around that.
Yeah, I've put a link to that in the chat. So anybody that's interested in having a look and seeing what that looks like, do have a look there. I mean, it has initially come out of NHS England, but HPCA, like FEDIP, is UK-wide. So we're advocating for the profession in each of the countries to try and move it forward. If I just go back to the couple of questions in the chat. So we've got a question about how could this be beneficial in perspective with finance? Now, we know the drive in finance is around productivity and efficiency and cost saving. So Scott and Bethany, any thoughts from you about how the intersection between, say, data and finance could target some of those improvement objectives?
That's a great question, isn't it? Finance is all data, though, isn't it? We are surrounded by data in finance. Certainly, the skills that you could it'd be interesting to see is it finance in project management, and is it being able to allocate resources appropriately based on known risks, known findings? Is AI going to enable you to make financial planning more confident? There's a lot of things around finance where better information can support not better decision making, but more confident decision making. The more data that's around you, and the more confident you are in the data that you have, then we would certainly see improved decision making across all areas. With finance as well, knowing that you're being provided the right information, and the things that are coming in from areas that are less supported in digital skills, you can then turn into information you can use, will also again have that appropriate impact.
And again, I think, yeah, no, it is. And I think this is where the intersection between the professions come together, because you've got a data component, you've got a financial component, but also you've got a kind of portfolio prioritization component that comes from the project profession. Because even if you're doing things to improve efficiency, how are you making decisions on what you're going to invest your time in? And also, benefits doesn't tend to be on the finance side; it tends to be on the project side. Where are we getting the evidence of the value it's adding and the benefits that are being realised? And I think that's a triangulation between those professions to come up and join those things together. I'd like to see that happen. And, you know, the finance profession under HFMA has been doing some work on ROI, and I've contributed to the benefits part of that. But maybe we need to get our data analyst colleagues in to help to make it take shape. We've also got a quick question about for Scott around AI and is AI not going to replace jobs but augment it? Are jobs not going to be cut with this AI augmentation?
But this is going back to the Vandals, isn't it? And the implementation of the loom, is it? But that's what it is. It's a tool. It is a tool, and the people who adopt AI in their role are going to be at the forefront of how it is then adopted across whole industry. So no, it's not going to cost jobs. It's going to take away the well, I can't say, I shouldn't really put that as an absolute statement, but in my opinion, it won't cost jobs. It'll enable us to do the things that we're skilled to do. It will take away the mundane. It will give us more information. It'll give us more access. It will do the things that we really shouldn't be doing because we are more capable in other areas. And I was keen to point out in those slides, it's not about replacing decision making or your professional judgment and skills. It's about supporting them. It's about giving you more capability around those decisions, more confidence, and also the ability to communicate them as well with confidence, with information, with data.
Absolutely. And again, you know, the AI at the moment isn't going to do the relationship development and the influencing with people, and ultimately that's a really critical human skill. I'm mindful we've run out of time. We do have another couple of questions. I might pop those through to you if you'd be happy to answer those. But thank you. The time has flown. I'm sorry we didn't get through all of it. Thank you for your time today. Thank you, Will, for joining us and representing FEDIP, bringing that in. And thank you to Scott and Bethany for Projecting Success, for giving some really valuable insights from their perspective and some of the valuable tools and skills and training available to help you to progress and move it forward. We'll keep the conversation going because this is a subject that's going to continue for a good while, and we will keep progressing it as we go. So thank you for joining us today, everybody. Good. And you'll get a follow-up with the link to the recording plus any slides and resources that come out of today. And thank you, Lynn, for sharing your link to us as well. We'll share that with everybody. Thank you again. See you at the next event.